Hey there, welcome back to SwingBadder, episode 4. That's right, we're 4 in the books. I got my special host, eldest brother Todd with us, and I got my father Peter with us. Dad, Todd, how you guys doing? Welcome to the SwingBadder Podcast. Check out SwingBadder.com. That's BADDER, because nothing's better than being battered. And check out the merchandise store and check out the game. 5 players, pick the worst one, the worst contract of the day that you think is the worst. Match it up and win. Happy to be your host today as we look at the offseason. Welcome to the fun offseason. I want to ask both of you a really fun question to start us off. You're Billy Beane. You have a wonderful movie. Brad Pitt played you as Moneyball character. Great book. Great reinvention of baseball. He has no players signed going into the offseason. So what's the next title of his next book? Dad, what do you think? Todd, what do you think? Who wants to go first? Dad, you got the book title? What is it?
No, I don't have a book title. I just tried to figure this out. So they spent some time this afternoon just going on the Oakland A's and Billy Beane and trying to read about what they're talking about. What I'm reading is, this surprised me, their minor league system is not very good. So on top of having no players, they don't even have inexpensive ones to bring up. And all they're talking about is the need of a new stadium, which they're trying to build in Oakland, and it keeps getting put off. And it seems like if after the elections, if they don't get Oakland to go ahead, then they're going to be looking at becoming the Las Vegas A's and just do what the Raiders did. But that's all they're talking about. And Billy Beane talked about, we got to get the stadium behind us. We have to have a stadium. And he didn't even address the teams. But, the guy is so smart. I've just watched this guy, like a magician, have teams in the playoffs with players you've never heard of year after year. That I don't know. I think he's such a good judge of talent that he somehow will take and make a casserole of this. I'm not predicting they're going to win, but I think they're going to surprise you and come up with a competitive team. I don't know how he's going to do it. If he does, it'll be his masterpiece. But
all right. So, would you eat that casserole? Are you?
No,
it sounds like casserole. Oh, no, it sounds like Dad's eating it. It sounds like Dad's eating it.
If Bobby Flay said he was going to whip up something of a casserole and he's not you'd try it.
Oh God, I feel like
Dad's a buyer. Dad's a buyer. He likes the A's. He's buying it. He likes it. Yeah. All right. So, what's the book title, Todd? What do you think he's doing?
The book title is, I used to do really good on cooking shows, and then my catchphrase, BAM, went out the window, and now I'm shellacking nonstick cookware on made-for-TV commercials at 1 a.m. for housewives and guys who can't go to sleep because they're up doing their kids' homework. That's what Billy Beane has become. That's what Billy Beane has become. How do you have... For 2023, this is according to Spotrac. Just listen to this. Your estimated player benefits for next year are $16.5 million. Your only payroll you have is a deferred base salary of $5 million that you're giving to Trevor Rosenthal, a 33-year-old relief pitcher. Everything else is going to arbitration or pre-arbitration. Every single player. Who's going to play in the stadium? Who's going to play in the stadium?
Diners, drive-ins, and dives. That's what Billy.
Okay.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Is he dyeing his hair? Is he dyeing his hair and getting that big for the next movie?
Oh my gosh!
All right, so
how about this? Can you name a player currently on the A's?
No, and you won't know him on opening day either. That doesn't matter.
So what matters if you're trying to sell tickets to a stadium that nobody goes to?
It doesn't matter. When they had a good teams with Cespedes and stuff, they didn't come anyway.
So Dad, based on what you said, my book title would be Field of Dreams. Billy Beane finds a stadium. The players will come from the corn, and then the fans will come too. Don't worry, just build it. They will come. That's probably his speech at the city and at the city of Oakland. He probably sits there and they say, "Well, where are your players? Build it, they will come."
Hey, they might have a
Fans
first
know that
baseman.
they will come.
They might have a first baseman that played first base at Lindenhurst High this year. They might start for the A's next year. It's opportunities.
Opportunities
Yeah.
come. I also
Who is
think-
that?
I have no idea. He's gonna search.
So I don't think they're going to make another movie about this. I do think this is the ownership grab to go to the.
No, they made the movie already. It's called The Bad News Bears.
I do think they're going to go to Vegas. I wouldn't want to be in Oakland anymore. California, again, I'd short it. I go to Vegas. Vegas is a great opportunity. They have treated the Raiders pretty good, although the Raiders don't treat them good. And then the fan base will be there because traveling, you get more fans. They'll be there. World tours, go watch a baseball game. I think they'll load up that stadium. If I'm the owner, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I don't produce players, and I'm going to try to move it to Las Vegas. I think it's a great move.
You would think one of these Silicon Valley guys who's contributing to the Warriors and their championships that they assemble would turn around and say, let's just take the team and move them down to San Jose. We'll build them a nice stadium. We'll call it Silicon Alley. We'll shape it like a giant apple with a bite out of it. And all the cutouts in the stadium will look like a Microsoft Windows logo. And no, that's Seattle. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just a shame. The whole thing's a tragic. It's the Hindenburg all over again, but it's baseball.
But athletes are not investing in baseball. They are putting all their money in pickleball. Have you not been reading that? They are buying pickleball teams. So we'll get with.
I'm going to tell you something. Some of these athletic players are making about the same as pickleball players that you've seen on the Ocho.
All right, here's another bet for you, for both of you, money grabbers at heart. Who makes the playoffs again sooner, the Angels or the A's? And one is really trying. One has a payroll, a large payroll, and one has nothing.
Yeah.
Which one makes the playoffs sooner? Is it the Las Vegas A's or is it the Los Angeles / Angels, whatever they changed their name to?
It absolutely should be the Angels, which means the answer to this conundrum is it's going to be the A's. Right. It's the one you don't see. You know those Agatha Christie mysteries? Who did the murder? It's always the person you never thought of. Watch the A's. Tortoise and the Hare, man.
What do you think? Angels over A's, Todd? This is a tough question. This is a shockingly. This is a terrible question that you have to debate because the Angels have literally wanted to get Mike Trout in the playoffs so bad for so many years, and he still has yet to have a postseason at bat, which is a waste of a brilliant career so far. And then with all of the adders, like Rendon is just collecting paychecks to not go. That's all Albert did. Albert Pujols went to the playoffs
in God's
with the
name
Cardinals,
is Anthony Rendon making what he's making?
and again with the Cardinals. It's crazy to me. This is where we're at. This is what we're sitting on. A's or Angels, Todd? Who do you think is going to make it the playoffs?
It's so tempting to say the Angels. It's like in craps where you're sitting there and you're like, all you got to do is bet the pass line. The whole table loves you. They're going to just do what the crowd wants. They want bet the pass. But you're looking at it and you know if you bet the pass, there's a very high chance you're not hitting point. But if you bet the don't pass, it's really ugly, but it's probably the right bet. I'm going to say the Angels because I think Ohtani really needs to be in the playoffs. The guy's just he's an absolute gem.
The Angels are the obvious pick, but I'm looking at that and I'm saying, there's no way they beat the Astros and Mariners. There's no room left in the playoffs for them. They're already out just because of who they are. So
you said the Mariners, right?
For the playoffs, yeah.
Oh, it's so depressing. So depressing.
Why is it depressing?
Seattle should not be in the playoffs before the Angels, number one. Like, one team is actually trying. They're throwing so much money at the Angels.
The Mariners are trying.
The Angels were literally close to 20 games below 500. The Diamondbacks, with very little payroll and lack of trying, or did a better job than the Angels this year. I'm telling you, I have the A's. The A's will make it. They'll get young talent. They'll be hungry. Trout's going to demand a trade.
For years, we've watched the Angels with big payrolls fall behind both Seattle and Oakland when it comes playoff time. Year after year, those two teams are ahead of the Angels in the playoff chase. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Angels' salaries were not that high. Like you're sitting here saying like their payroll was high. The payroll was 187.
Wow.
Is
that count Justin Upton?
Relative
No,
terms,
it's because Albert went off the books.
Albert
last year was ridiculous for them.
Yeah, but they paid most of his salary.
Their retained salary was $62 million. Their active payroll is only 118.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying.
And Justin Upton, right? They had to pay Justin Upton and Albert. When they didn't even play.
They paid Noah Syndergaard $13 million.
They signed Noah to let him go play on the Phillies. Who's going to pitch Game 3? Is he pitching Game 3? Is he going to the World Series with the Phillies?
I don't think they'd let him start.
The Mets aren't in the playoffs because he refused to pitch against the Mets.
Oh, that would be, yes. Carry on. We're not going to talk about the team which shall not be named the Mets. All right. That's a great question about Oakland. All right, so we're going to name some players. Todd, you got them lined up that are free agents that just came from a nice winning team. Well, we're going to pick the Seattle Mariners as our team with playoff players that helped you get in the playoffs. You may not even have heard of them, everybody, because no one thought the Mariners were going to be there. And here they were in the top 8 teams, which is fantastic. So what players are on Seattle that you would sign or release or let it go to arbitration? Dad, you get to we're going to wisdom here. Who do you got, Todd?
All right, so we're going to start off with first baseman Carlos Santana, who's currently 36 years old. This year he came in at $10.5 million.
Love him. I love him.
What stats did he have?
We don't talk stats here.
Terrible stats. He's terrible.
That's the thing.
Where did he start? He did not start with Seattle. He was released this year. You got to go back to where he started. Carlos Santana is a fantastic first baseman many years ago. He started with Kansas City Royals. You may ask yourself, why in the heck would the Kansas City Royals sign Carlos Santana to a 2-year deal at 34 years old? I will tell you, because the owner felt guilty. He felt shamed, and Carlos Santana's agent said, you owe me, you better sign him for 2 years, or I'm going to tell everyone about what you did that summer in Cabo. Then he gets signed by Kansas City. Then he gets released, only to get picked up by Seattle. Carlos Santana spent those 18 innings trying to hit a home run. Those should be his last 18 innings in baseball history. That's it. You didn't do it, buddy. You're done. You're done.
So you're releasing him.
I released him. I released him with Kansas City. He was dead to me then, and then he made the playoffs, and I had to watch him 18 innings, and this poor Seattle fan was sitting there shaking his head. I go, here it is, home run or strikeout. What is he going to do? What's he going to do? Strikeout.
Dad, what are you doing?
36 years old. You know what Homer Simpson said? Keep walking. Keep walking.
Who do you have next?
Next, he was a big money that's becoming a free agent on the team. He got that contract. So next up is Adam Frazier, second baseman. He's 30 years old. Pulled in $8 million last year. What are we thinking here with Adam Frazier?
He's a guy.
The year before he was on San Diego, came in this year with a roaring .238 average by the end of the year with an on-base percentage of .301. His on-base percentage was under Aaron Judge's batting average. So winner on that one. comes in with a WAR of .69, which huge drop off from the year before in San Diego at a 3.05. So, but at $8 million, he's a serviceable, slightly above average second baseman, 30 years old. You sign him, you release him, you send him to arbitration. What do we do?
I suppose, it's good to have a guy with experience around to play a middle infield, but, I keep thinking to myself, haven't we got somebody in AAA that we can pay $700,000 to, or a couple of guys, and for a total outlay of $2 million that'll give us every bit of what he gives us, other than experience? I'm tempted to say goodbye to him, but I'm cheap, okay? I like shopping at the dollar store.
I would play the NSYNC song as well, Bye, Bye, Bye. We'll see you later. I will tell two teams that were very interested in this player as a second baseman. The A's are very interested. He is a human being who's above the age of 18, and he has played in the Major League Baseball. And he probably won't take that much to sign him. The other team that would love to sign him is the Angels, because they're trying to make the playoffs, and he has playoff experience, which the Angels lack up and down the lineup because they've never made the playoffs. Who's next?
What I want to know is I want to know what second basemen are actually going to the free agent pool.
Well,
next year.
The second base, the big signing was last year with Corey Seager. And then you have, you had the big ones last year, and then this year, second base has never been huge special like this guy's.
It is rough out there right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bye. It's been real. Who you got next?
But who are you signing at second base?
Look at your minor league system. There's anybody you can bring up. You can take. Second base. I just don't. Again, I'm not putting a lot of value on that. I've never had a second baseman lead me to victory. We're not even talking about second basemen with the final 14. Second baseman.
He would make more sense on the A's for $2.5 or $3 million than the Mariners at $8.
No, I would agree with that.
I don't think he's going for $2.5 or $3 million. I think that the Mariners keep him, and I think they sign him for 3 years. At
3 years.
I think they sign him for I think they sign him for $30 million 3 years.
Whoa. I ate some bad food yesterday, but that's some bad food.
Yeah, everyone's wishing your daughter marry him.
I want to marry him. What do you mean, daughter?
I just looked at what was out there as far as prospects and free agents, and it's rough. It's rough out there in second base land.
That doesn't mean the tide's rising. Not for this guy.
Listen, in the land of the blind, in the land of the blind, my friend, the land of the blind.
So you're saying he stays because
there's nobody else? That's what he's saying. All right,
because there's nobody else. Mitch Haniger in right field, 31 years old, currently pulling in $7.7 million.
It's nice salary.
Unlimited free agent next year. See, how'd we do this year? Not too bad. 246 average with 308 on base percentage. Came in with 57 games played. Must have been injured. He had an injury, right?
Yeah, I think so. He's a serviceable player. I would think. I think somebody.
He missed 99 days. He missed 99 days with an ankle injury.
I think somebody's going to pay him.
31, right? How old?
He's 31.
I would be surprised if he gets $12 million from somebody. The question is, does Mariners want to match that? I think they might. He's been a pretty good player for them when he's healthy.
Yeah, I think they keep him. They'll keep him for maybe $10 million. He may get the 3 or 30 that you're talking about, the second baseman. He may get that. Who else you got?
But he's a free agent. They may not be able to.
You're right.
It
depends on what the going rate of that outfielder is. 31. He's got I would say 3 solid years left to play, and the ankle injury does not make me feel great about him. But at the end of the day, 32, 33, 34. Those are some great baseball years for the players.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Who else they got to sign to keep this Seattle Mariners train going? To keep the public transit of Seattle going.
Have you been to Seattle? Their public transit is not half bad.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I think their public transit is very good, especially when you can get up to Canada.
They have a system where the buses actually become subways when you get to the downtown area.
This is very telling for someone from New York to be upset about.
Matt Boyd, a 31-year-old starting pitcher, is becoming a free agent.
Oh, he'll get 3-4 years. Not from Seattle, but he'll get looks. Matt Boyd's not terrible. He'll be in that.
At 31.
That's a good age.
31 years old. Pitched in 10 games this year. In 13 innings pitched.
He's hurt. Right?
Really didn't do much.
Righty or lefty?
He's a lefty.
Yeah, he's pitching forever. He'll get a 3-year deal. Lefty reliever.
He pitched 13 innings because he was hurt, right? I mean, nobody can pitch 13.
Yeah, he missed 151 days. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a reliever.
Last year with Detroit, he had a 3.89 ERA.
Listen, he's good.
15 games. He struck out.
The shift is going away.
67.
Left-handed pitchers are suddenly going to be a commodity again. And then the shift going away, you're going to want someone who can just.
What'd they pay him this year?
Oh, this year I think 7.
Yeah, he'll get a nice little contract. Because he's injured, he may take a 1-year deal as a lefty reliever. I mean, especially he'll make money being a lefty reliever. I think Seattle keeps him. You need to have that bullpen be strong. 18 innings of strong bullpen. So yeah,
I would try to keep him.
Yeah, but no, sorry, that was it was Matt Boyd. I think we screwed up that. Yeah.
Oh, that was Matt Boyd. We're keeping him.
Yep. But he's a starting pitcher, though. You going to put him in the bullpen?
I mean, if he lefty starting pitching, he only pitched how many games last year? 13, you said, or 13 innings?
13 innings.
Yeah, then I would transition him to the bullpen.
He can't.
We'll see what his agent wants, if he's going to stay a starter or not. But a lefty, I'd put him in the bullpen. That way you got to get 3 batters out anyways. He's going to be good in the bullpen. I'd keep him.
Unless he's not healthy. Unless he's a broken toy and he's not going to get better again, then nobody wants him.
Yeah, he'll be pitching until he's 40. He's the lefty.
Chris Flexen's he's a relief pitcher. He's there's a club option on him, but he's a free agent. Club options for $4 million next year.
Pick him up. That's a great name. It's a great name.
28 years old.
How much?
Started 22 games with a 3.73 ERA.
Take the club
option
right
for $4 million.
That's a steal.
Keep him.
Yeah.
That's a highway robbery.
Yeah.
So his agents at O'Connell Sports Management can just rest assured that he's bringing in the cool $4 million next year.
He's going to be very happy. Start a family. You got $4 million guaranteed. Lock that in.
So,
anybody else we got to worry about for Seattle before they go into their reign of playoff runs here? While the Angels look up.
Well, they have this. They have this catcher that's Kurt Casale, who's 30. He's gonna be 34 years old. Currently making 2.6. He's going to be a free agent.
He's going to be gone.
Well, who needs a second line catcher? He's not a starter. So.
Yeah, 34 with those knees. No, catchers had better.
He played 57 games.
If he's a good defensive catcher for $2 million, you might keep him.
I would say the only way you keep him is if you have one of those starting pitchers that you talked about earlier on Seattle, because they are loaded. They are loaded on starting pitchers. If one of those pitchers is like, that's my guy, he's coming back.
Yep.
Destia, Robert Ray, any of those guys say, he's my guy. I want to pitch it. Like Randy Johnson used to do that. He would say, you're signing this catcher just for me. And every ball club was like, not a problem. I would sign a catcher for any of those starters.
Who was the screwball pitcher that he just, or the knuckleballer? He had like one catcher.
The guy in Toronto?
That,
was it?
Yeah,
Dickey?
Well, he was with the Mets. Then he was with Toronto. R.A. Dickey. I think he had one catcher that that just stuck with him because he's like he needed a huge mitt just to catch him.
Yeah, the knuckleball. That R.A. Dickey made so much money in baseball. Kids, if you're listening, learn a knuckleball. If they're telling you you just don't have it to go to the show, learn. R.A. Dickey is the poster child to how to make a career out of no one thinking you should make a career.
Yeah.
He pitched to like 39 or 40. He pitched and he got great contracts. He got such great his contracts are beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like, I want to know how many banks he owns. So beautiful. Like what he did with his life. I'm so happy for him. R.A. Dickey, if you're out there, hats off. Hats off. You're the best.
Yeah,
much love.
What's interesting is, the Seattle Mariners, though, are interesting. They're pretty much set for next year as far as their vets are concerned. They got some guys going to arbitration and type of thing. They really, I don't really think you're going to see a lot of changes with them. Just based on what I'm looking at as far as the salary is concerned.
They stay healthy in the starting pitching category. They should be good. I think
they have a crazy man in the lab, and he's concocting a secret thing so that they sign Aaron Judge. And shock the world.
I think the removing the shift is going to be huge. Huge change for folks, especially pitching left-hand hitters. I mean, I think guys like Bryce Harper are just going to have monster years next year. That shift, it's going to be great. Oh, I will say this: you're removing the shift. You have a player that I love to hate, Carlos Santana. Without the shift, he bats a whopping 236. He goes from like a 206 to a 236. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to say, without a shift, I'm your man. DH, home runs, left-handed hitter, Carlos Santana. He'll get signed.
The shift won't give you more home runs. It'll give you a few more singles.
Oh, you have Carlos Santana and his speed going down the line. He makes Albert Pujols blush with how fast he is. All right, so there you have it. That's the Seattle Mariners take in the offseason. I like them. Again, very good team, well put together. I think the only problem with Seattle is they're in the division with Houston. I don't think they can overtake Houston next year. Houston is just so loaded, and they just wiped the mat out of everybody. But you never know. Maybe they come back strong, but they're definitely the top tier of that division with Houston. They've clearly caught their comeuppance.
When we're in this year's, it doesn't matter. If you can just make the playoffs, you can scare the bejesus out of teams in a 3 or 5 game series.
Knocking off Toronto was pretty big, and again, their starting pitching will make them completely a difficult out in the playoffs. They had Houston on the ropes, and they knocked out Toronto. Their starting pitching is fantastic. I love their starting pitching in the playoffs. I would love that lineup going up every day of the week. I like Seattle. Seattle will be a good time. Great stadium. If you have a chance, you're in the area, go check out a game. Seattle did a wonderful job with their pro sports, but their baseball stadium is beautiful. Well done, Seattle. Hats off. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, Oakland, did you hear that? There's a stadium by the ocean that's really beautiful and well done. In case you want to do that, or else they're going to move to the desert and hang out on the strip, which is always good for baseball players because we all know you show up to work at 3 p.m., you get out of work at 11. I mean, wouldn't that be the best for a baseball player? You're talking about crippling bankruptcy, divorces. This is going to be the best for a personal life. If you're a news reporter and you're like, come to Vegas, this is where every baseball player comes when they have a problem with another team. Think about Dwight Gooden would have signed with Vegas. Darryl Strawberry would have signed with Vegas. You guys are just not looking at the opportunities for these players that had serious problems. Vegas could be that source, that lifeblood. You get out of work at 11:30, midnight. You can go gamble at a casino till like 2 p.m. the next day, show up to work and be like, I have the flu. I got
Moneyball completely made a myth out of Billy Beane because the truth is Billy Beane is in the restaurant business with a hot dog cart. That's his life. That's what he's been doing all these years.
I would rather have a hot dog business in Las Vegas than in Oakland. If I'm buying real, but I will tell you, I do believe if you're going to have a baseball team in Vegas, that is going to be disaster. So many good. TMZ is excited for this. TMZ Sports is like their whole division is going to be in Vegas. They're so stoked about this.
I was just thinking about that. So you're a 24-year-old millionaire, and you don't need to report to work till 4 p.m. And you're in Vegas.
You just described 50% of the 24-year-olds out there who are trading crypto and making money by being TikTok influencers. There's no difference between them and baseball players.
There's one huge difference. These men are specimen, good-looking men that at Vegas put them on a different category.
God,
they will get. This is the best.
You need to see some baseball players.
Yes, I did. The Mets players are not going there. You're like Mike Trout, and you.
I'd like to present to you Mr. Vogelbach for your this specimen of an athlete. The funny part is he could probably outrun most of the league.
He's going to host the pool party at Caesars on Sunday afternoon before the ball game. That's the other thing. Is the ball player will be like, we have a guest host at the pool party. He'll be playing in the game later today, but he's going to host the pool party tonight.
I love
Vogelbach. Can we get press credentials for the winter meetings just to show up?
I love Vogelbach because it looks like they found him on a bar stool at Cheers. And they said, here.
It's about time, right? We thought the 80s were gone, and here we go.
He's a good player.
He's good for the fans. He's good for the fans.
He's good for body image. There are places that every man needs to go and be standing next to feel like they're the specimen that they see in the mirror. Every guy looks in the mirror and says,
but enough about Planet Fitness.
I have to ask a question. Has his agent been smart enough to land him some good advertising gigs?
Chili's, Applebee's.
Something like that. I would say
what places do Mets fans go to frequent? Outback?
He doesn't have to listen after the playoffs. After the playoffs, I don't listen. That
I know the Yankees go to
any pizza joint in New York. That guy would be on board.
Hey, Mets fans, we know we just lost again in the playoffs. There's nothing better than our 3 Taco Supremes. Come on down.
I like that pizza idea.
I love him.
They could name a pizza after him. It's just a gold mine. Baseball.
Before we wrap this thing up, I think that he should be eating in the dugout. He should be allowed to eat for TV cameras to see him eat in between bats, like he's at Topgolf, like he's at a Topgolf.
Didn't we have an article?
And he goes up and he's wiping his hands. He's like, "Oh, I lost the bat because my hands were sticky from the barbecue wings. Oh, it's terrible."
We had an article on a guy that got caught eating ribs in the dugout.
I don't think they should get caught eating ribs. It should be promoted.
No, we had an article. I don't know if we published it or not, but
We have not.
No, we didn't publish it. We didn't publish it yet. It's Charlie Kerfield. Charlie Kerfield, who got paid in Jell-O. He got caught eating ribs in the dugout during a game. But
so listen,
it goes back. It goes back to a time where baseball players were heroes because they looked like America. There wasn't you didn't have these guys who had been training since they were in elementary school and training with these specialists to perfect their technique. It was guys who were just freaks of nature. I just happened to be able to throw a curve. Or, you want to know something? I'm going to stand up there because if you hit me, I don't care. And I can punch out a home run maybe 20 times a year, and for that you're going to give me $500,000, and I'll be happy with that and a pack of Marlboro Reds. And that was baseball.
I agree. I think there should be more promotion of that. We do take games too serious. Let sports be sports. Let them have a good time. All right, Dad, you wanted to get it back to baseball. We got some closing remarks here. What did you want to give us as your final adieu for this episode that you want to take us deep diving into baseball?
Well, I just am always looking for a bargain. I look at what, I'll start with closers. People throw huge amounts of money at closers, and sometimes it works. But it seems to me more often than not, you end up with Kimbrel and Chapman. They're pitching so bad you don't even use them anymore. Here in Arizona, they paid, I don't know, something like $25 million to get two guys at the end of the bullpen who were so bad, they were pitching AAA pitchers to close the game at the end of the year. And here's $25 million they spent on closers. Finding a closer is a crapshoot. It really is a crapshoot. You think the guy's going to be good, he gets hurt, and all of a sudden, every fourth pitch is a home run, and you can't use him anymore. So my opinion is, I think Tampa had the right idea. Just get a whole bunch of young guys who can throw 100 miles an hour, and somebody in there will work. And don't go spending, huge amounts of money on some guy who used to be good. But that's my opinion.
I mean, when they lose it, they lose. Jansen was with the Dodgers. He was stellar, and then he lost it. Now he's with the Braves this year. I don't think he's back with the Braves next year but as far as a closer, when they lose it, they lose it. Now when they're great, they're great. You want to give them all the money in the world, but when they fall off the wagon, they fall off hard. Closers are tough, yeah.
There's only one Mariano Rivera. And we never saw before him, and we haven't seen after him. Somebody who was all-star, guaranteed save guy for many years. Unheard of.
And not only was he a guaranteed save guy, he was a guaranteed save guy in the biggest moments of baseball, which is even harder. You can be a guaranteed save guy on like the Angels and be 20 games under 500 and nobody cares, nobody even knows you. He was guaranteed save guy in the playoffs, in the World Series. It was shocking when people got to him. Shocking because it was like, when he comes in for 4 outs or 5 outs or 3 outs, it doesn't matter. The game was over. And Joe Torre sat there playing with his belly button because he knew more rings than ever. And then everyone goes, Derek Jeter is amazing. There is one player on the Yankees that deserves all the credit. Hats off. Mariano Rivera literally made that team. Because if they don't have that closer and they're going through like closer after closer because they're failing in big moments, because they're also New York media. He had New York media. He had the small Yankee Stadium where everybody was all over. He blows any of those games, his whole mindset's gone. Young Kim blew games in the World Series. He was gone from baseball within a year. That's how amazing Mariano Rivera was for baseball, for the Yankees, for closers. I mean, every closer should give him part of their salary because they're all trying to be him. Todd, last thoughts on baseball as we leave this fun episode.
If you want your kid to play baseball, play second base. There's not a lot of them out there. The pickings are few.
If you're a shortstop,
that's all I got to say.
You're a shortstop and there's a competition because you want the ball all the time. Be like, hey, there's nobody over at the other position. I'll go over there. I'll do fine.
You can be you two could be King Turd of Poop Mountain. That's it's all there for you.
I have a memory of a second baseman who I thought was absolutely terrible, but he got overpaid. Jeffrey Kent.
Oh yeah.
He had no range of motion. Could never play any other position other than maybe first. And he was a second baseman, and he wanted to stay there because he had a great batting average. He wanted to be known as one of the best hitting second basemen of all time, which he was. But fielding-wise, not that it mattered because, again, second base really doesn't do a lot. His range was lacking, to say the least. Well, yes, you play second base, kids.
The secret to Kent is he batted right in front of Barry Bonds. And they didn't dare walk him. They threw him. They had to give him good pitches because they didn't want to face Bond. He saw so many meatballs coming in right down the middle that other batters didn't see. Take him out of that position, and he's not as good as he was.
Yes, 6 stash though.
Well, he had a great one, and he had a great excuse for an injury, one of the best of all time. You can look it up. All right, folks, that's all we have for tonight for Swing Batter. Jeffrey Kent, great mustache. Again, hats off to you, your salary, and your great second base career. Mariano Rivera was amazing. Other than that, thank you, Dad. Thank you, Todd, for joining. And again, check out SwingBadder.com. Check out the merchandise. Check out the game and check out our fun articles. And yeah, this offseason is going to be a good time. I will guarantee one thing. They will top over $1 trillion in contracts this offseason. Is that where we're going? $1 billion? Is it $1 billion? I think it's $1 billion. $1 billion. I forget the money, but overall, total dollar, not per year, but total dollar signings and all that jazz. I think they go over $1 billion every year. It's quite amazing. So we get to watch all that fun happenings, and with inflation, every agent can say, "You got to mark this up 30%." Yo, it's tough. Times are tough for my ball player out there.
I know, they got to go grocery shopping.
And the agent, Mr. McGuire, has to have take care of his family. All right, everybody, that's all we have for SwingBadder. Batter on, take care of yourself, have lots of kids, keep making the world a better place. Don't cheer.
Wear your swag.
Wear your swag, make the world a better place. Don't cheer for a New York team if you can't help it in your life. Other than that, take care. Enjoy the festivities.
Bye.
Bye.